Welcome to Ducks No Sports. This week we're recapping the Stanley Cup Finals, the Stanley Cup playoffs, and of course the NHL season and everything else in between. But of course we got to start this off by congratulating the 2012 Stanley Cup champions, Los Angeles Kings. What a run, boys. But before we get to that, we got to congratulate somebody else. No, not Jonathan Quick, not Dustin Brown. We got to congratulate Ducks No Sports as we predicted at the start of the season the Los Angeles Kings would hold the Stanley Cup above their heads. That's exactly what they did. Congratulations, Ducks No Sports! Woo! But on a serious note, man, what a run by Los Angeles Kings. 8-seeded team, which nobody really expected much of when the start of the playoffs. I mean, and I kind of compared this run by the Kings to, I know it's a different sport, but to the Green Bay Packers run a couple years ago to the Super Bowl. I mean, think about, a last-seeded team gets in the last day of the season, and when they got in, they just knocked everybody in front of them on their ass. I mean, what an amazing run. Such great players. I mean, Jonathan Quick. What more can you say about Jonathan Quick right now? I mean, right now, I think Jonathan Quick is the best goalie in the NHL, no doubt. And he proved it this playoffs by just being a wall. Kind of reminds me of maybe like a Brodeur in his prime, just that wall, that constant wall, where no pucks got past him. Great run. A guy like Dustin Brown, who a lot of people had their doubts about before the playoffs started. Well, not now. I mean, this guy, going into before the finals started, Quick and Brown were neck and neck. For being the MVP of the Stanley Cup Finals, but then Quick just asserted himself by being that wall. Dustin Brown going away a little bit in the finals, but except for the last game where he came to play and gets 2 goals off the hop in Game 6. Really set the tone for the Kings and just that dominating, 6-1 win in Game 6. I mean, what a run by Dustin Brown. Maybe his coming out party. I mean, if a lot of people weren't saying Dustin Brown's an elite player before this playoffs, well, they're saying it now because he's proved why he wears the C's on the Kings. And we're talking about the Kings right now. I don't think this is a one-and-done thing. I think they could go on maybe a bit of a run here. I mean, think you have Quick, you have Brown, you have Richards, who I love, Jeff Carter, I mean, Kopitar, I mean, Drew Doughty, maybe a top 5 defenseman right now in the in the game. I mean, no doubt. I mean, this team is young, rugged, and they already won a championship. This might be the next dynasty, if we still have dynasties anymore in sports. I mean, this might be the next dynasty in the NHL. I mean, this is a great, great young team that's going to be hard to beat for years and years to come. And isn't it fitting, in a year where Brian Burke of the Toronto Maple Leafs pound the table saying, I don't want to be an 8th seed. Nobody plays to be 8th seed. Isn't it fitting, the year where he said that over and over and over again, isn't it fitting that a team that's an 8th seed hoists the Stanley Cup? How you like those words now, Burke? Yeah, so just remember, to all you GMs out there, careful what you say, because you might pull a Burke, you might have to eat your words later. But, moving on to the Stanley Cup Finals, I mean, I'll give all the credit to the New Jersey Devils. I mean, they really showed this year that they have a lot of guts. I mean, Martin Brodeur, what more can you say about this dude? I mean, 40, he's still getting it done. I mean, Martin Brodeur is still showing he has a little bit left, and showing us the Devils. Hey, I wasn't very high on the Devils coming season. I'll admit it. I was not very high on them. I didn't think they made the playoffs. Might as well go to the Stanley Cup Final. And I'll give all the credit in the world. I mean, they played their butts off all playoffs. Nothing really expected from them. I think the consensus was they were going to get past Florida, but past that, they were just playing with house money, and bam, they knock out the Flyers, they knock out the Rangers, and came that close after being down 3-0 in the series to coming back and winning the Stanley Cup. I mean, big ups to them. I mean, showing that this franchise is an elite franchise in the NHL still. I mean, what a great run by New Jersey Devils. And nothing, they should, you know what, don't hang your heads Devils, because you played like champions. You went out swinging like every great champion should. And is this the end of Brodeur? I don't know. I say yes. I don't think Brodeur plays another game in the NHL. I think he goes out on top, but only time will tell that. And when we remember these playoffs, I think we'll remember the wackiness of these playoffs. I mean, just look at Stanley Cup Final. You had an 8 seed playing a 6 seed. I mean, that just goes to show you just the overall unpredictability it was in these NHL playoffs. I mean, everybody going in, the census was Vancouver and Pittsburgh. That's who's going to be the finals. And both of them getting knocked out in the first round. I mean, that just showed us, as soon as that happened, I knew, I had to buckle up my seatbelt, because this was going to be one wacky ride. And it was. It was. I mean, I don't remember anybody picking the Kings coming in. I thought they'd get past the Canucks, but past that, I didn't think they beat the Blues. I mean, amazing run. No doubt. I mean, these playoffs, I don't know if these are the greatest playoffs I've ever seen, but as far as the unpredictability, this might be one of the best playoffs I've ever seen. As far as the unpredictability, it's the best playoffs I've ever seen? No, not even close, but on a scale from 1 to 10, these playoffs were probably, let's say a 6. Above average, but nothing special. I think when we remember back these playoffs, I think we'll just remember the run by the Kings. And maybe in past years, if I'm right, maybe the start of something really special. But these playoffs were wacky, and it was just a wacky year. I mean, a lot of things happened this year. The biggest question in NHL this year was probably, biggest story was probably concussions. I mean, it seemed like for a while there, everybody's getting knocked out, from Crosby to Quad Giroux to name it. They're out with a concussion. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, this NHL season, it was a little, it was a little weird. I'll just say that this NHL season was weird. Not saying it wasn't good. I still think it was a good season, but it was just a little unpredictability. It was all year. It was like that. Like the St. Louis Blues come out of nowhere, and go with second seed in the West. I mean, the Rangers come out of nowhere, be first seed in the East. I mean, it was just an unpredictable year, followed by an unpredictable playoffs. I mean, it was just one of those weird years. But of course, this is also a historic year, because one of the greatest players to ever play this game on the blue line, Nick Lindstrom, retired right here. For my money, one of my favorite defensemen of all time. And for my money, I will say this, Nick Lindstrom, the best puck moon defenseman to ever play. And I want to say one thing, being a diehard Wings fan here, Nick Lindstrom, thank you. Thank you. I mean, year after year, just consistency, and you never heard a bad thing about him. There was never any rape charges. There's never an arrest. The only time you heard about Nick Lindstrom in a newspaper was when he was making great plays on the ice. And that's something which is sad to say was far in between of today's athlete. So, thank you again, Nick. And, of course, he's going to the Hall of Fame, first ballot. I mean, everybody tries to argue that, it's just a moron. So, first ballot, one of the best D-men to ever play. And, yeah, so that's your 2012 NHL season. And, of course, we have to look ahead in life, as always. So, let's talk about the offseason a little bit here. Big names out there. Ryan Suter, a very good defenseman with the Preds, a free agent. Zach Parise, a free agent. And the rumors are flying right now that both those guys are going to the same spot. With Lindstrom retiring, the Red Wings now suddenly have a lot of cap space. About $20 million under the cap. And there's rumors they're both going to the Red Wings. I don't think that will happen. I think it'll be one or the other. My money would be on Suter, though. My money's on the Red Wings sign Ryan Suter. I think to replace Lindstrom, and I think he's a great defenseman, and I think he could really, when he gets away from the shadow of Shea Weber, can be a very, very good defenseman in this league. Maybe a top defenseman, maybe a Norris Trophy candidate. And, of course, we'll still be going probably the whole summer-long saga of Rick Nash. You know, will he stay or will he go? Will he get traded? My money's on no. I think he stays where he is because I just think, unless the Rangers throw in a big pile of players because they need that next player to go to the next level, I think he stays where he is because I just don't think there's a team that's desperate enough or has enough players to get this deal done. So I think he stays with the Columbus Blue Jackets for another year. Well, that's it for this video, recapping the NHL. But there'll be more NHL videos over the summer. Of course, we got free agency. I just talked a little bit about it now, but we'll dive more into that after probably a few days after July 1st. Let things settle down. You know, we'll see where Zach Parise and Ryan Stewart are going. We'll see what's the Rick Nash story. I mean, of course, the big story now in the NHL. Will there be a season in October? I mean, the CBA is up, and there's no new CBAs yet. And my gut feeling is that I think there's going to be a work stoppage. Not long one, not like in 2005, 2004, 2005 when we lost the entire season. I don't think anything will be nothing like that. But definitely, I think we're going to miss a few games here, but we'll see how many. Only time will tell. And of course, probably next week I'll be putting up my NHL awards video. Kind of interesting. You know, a lot of these awards are up in the air, so it should be a pretty good award show. So till next time, I'm Eric Duxbury saying I'm Dux, and I know sports. Kind of.